Melinda, thank you for being in the podcast studio today. I'm glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here too, Tom. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so if nobody knows who you are, and you're a longtime industry veteran, so
Yeah.
if nobody knew who you were and they walked up and they said, "Hi, I'm Tom. Who are you?" What would you say to them?
And say, I'm Melinda Powelson. I am the CEO of Shred and Record Nations. We also operate under Shredtronics and Medical Waste Pros. I've been in the industry all of my life. I started picking up newspapers, when I was 7 years old. My dad had a recycling company called Tri-R Recycling that evolved into Tri-R Shredding, which was one of the founding members of NAID.
Yes.
A long time ago. So yeah, I've been in the industry since I was, 7.
Since you were 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a long time.
The thing I remember, and though I was never at Tri-R Shredding, the thing I remember was people talking about you could back a transport truck of paper up, and it would lift it up and dump it all into your shredder, and it would eat all of it.
It would. It was for a time period. Tri-R had the largest shredder in the United States, in North America.
Yeah.
And it was a huge thing, and my dad was so proud when it was installed. It was one of the best days of Tri-R's history. So yeah,
like
thank you.
I so remember that. I mean, I think I saw pictures of it though.
It was a monster.
Yeah, it was a beast,
Yeah,
right?
it was a monster.
And so you grew up in that environment.
Yeah.
That was your world.
It was. And I today we visited a recycling plant, electronics recycling plant here in Texas. And it was like walking home. I mean, it was like all the
Really?
boxes, all the smells. I mean, it was like, oh, this is where I grew up. So yeah, it was fun.
Got it. So let's jump back to what you do today. So you've
Yeah.
got deep roots in this industry,
Yep.
deep history. You know it intimately, but you said 4 different names. So
Right.
tell me if somebody doesn't know who you are,
Sure.
what do you deliver? What's your
Yeah.
service?
So we deliver customers to different industries that are compliance based. So in Shred Nations, we deliver shredding customers. In Record Nations, we deliver either storage customers or scanning customers. In Medical Waste, we deliver medical waste customers. In
Yep.
Shredtronics, we try to do people who are interested in ITAD and hard drive destruction.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take a
Sure.
leap here back into history
Absolutely.
before we talk about
Yeah.
that specifically. Why the heck did you go from running and being involved in a shredding business
Yeah.
and a recycling
Yeah.
business into a lead gen business?
Absolutely.
What was what caused that to happen
So we,
for you?
I was an English major, and which is different than most people. And I built a website for Tri-R in 1997.
Yep.
And they started getting leads across the country because they were the first website out there. So, but they only did shredding and recycling in Denver. And so we'd get leads from New York and from Chicago and all the
Right.
places. And because we were a member of NAID, we said who could use these things but other independent shredders.
Yeah.
And so we started, the first iteration was just giving away these leads, and then it evolved into a lead gen business. But it was because we were on the internet so early,
Right.
and had a mindset of developing, with independent companies. And so it was a natural, and then it grew into something much larger.
Yeah, and you now, and let's just focus on shredding
Sure.
for a bit. So in your shredding, in the shredding lead, you generate leads across the country.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of leads you create.
Yeah,
but
about 2,000 calls a day that come into our call center. And about 70% of those don't qualify for leads to send out. So we send out about 30% of what comes in every day. And they are, small customers, large customers, and big customers. We just did a deep dive into who they are and saw divisions of Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies that come in, and we see those as an entree part for our partners to go ahead and get bigger jobs.
So part of what you deliver, and again, I'm
Sure.
talking for somebody who might not know you.
Yeah, sure.
Because those of us who know you are
Yeah.
you're part of the world we live in.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't know you, basically, what they do is they work with you, and you provide them a channel for leads.
Yes. So a partner comes to us and says, we would like leads in specific areas, counties and cities.
Yeah.
And they say, we would like leads of a certain type, different sizes or different types of material and things
Yeah.
like that. And when a lead comes into our system that matches their criteria, we shoot it out by text, email, phone call, whatever they want, sometimes directly from our phone to theirs.
Like kind of a hot swap.
Like we call it a direct connect.
Yep.
And try to minimize the space between the customer and the provider with the goal of our partners growing their business.
Right. And so you do that in shredding records,
Yep.
records related,
Yep.
which is often scanning and imaging and things like that. You do it in medical waste and you do it in ITAD related stuff.
We do.
Okay.
And so we try to do adjacent industries and try to expand what people do and try to keep giving more value to our partners. And it's all partner driven. So.
Right. So from a partnership perspective, you seem to also have partnerships on the other side of the equation, because anytime anybody looks for shredding in the world, you seem to be in every city everywhere. How the heck do you do that?
Well, we do it because we have partners who do drop-off shredding. And so long time ago, it started in 2012, there was people who called every single day to us who said, we have 1, 2, and 3 boxes. And at that time, our network didn't want to service 1, 2, and 3 boxes. So we looked for places to aggregate the small volume shredding and direct customers to them, because they kept coming back. They call and say, can we please do shredding? And like, if our customers or our partners won't come out, you had to come up with a solution for them. And so the pack and ship industry was receptive to putting in bins serviced at that time by many of our partners and aggregating small volume, so that the shredding company would pick up a bigger volume than just 1 and 2 and 3 boxes. But over time, that industry has grown. I mean, significantly.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the big opportunities in shredding is for our partners to really solve residential shredding, because it's out there. It's small volume shredding, 1 to 9 boxes, is about 35% of the inquiries that come in every day.
Really? 35%?
35%.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the average, let's call them the average shredder, doesn't really like that client.
That's exactly right.
Right.
But it's so big.
Yeah.
And some people, a lot of it is driven by, my mom is moving on Saturday. Yep. I have to have her stuff securely destroyed. Can you do it? And you can charge a premium for that client, $200, $300, because they are absolutely desperate to do it when they are in town, moving their mom from their home to a retirement home facility or something like that. Or a business who, decides that they're moving and they have to move 20 boxes on a specific day, and they have no flexibility. And those, while they're not popular with people, there is a tremendous value in charging more for the immediate service.
Yeah. So it's a premium. So you've built this network of places for those smaller people to go. But presumably, shredding is one kind of thing. ITAD, medical waste, records is a different animal. So that functions a little bit differently.
Yeah, so they are still a local search, right?
Yep.
I mean, so what people want is a local provider. And so you have to, every company here has the opportunity to optimize themselves as a local search, and should, because that's how people are looking for them. So they're looking for a medical waste provider in Chicago, a ITAD provider in New York. It's just the way
it's local.
It's what people want.
It's a local search generally.
But search has changed a lot.
Yeah.
Search has gotten much more, as Google evolves, now the local search algorithm is influencing the organic algorithm, is influencing the paid algorithm. And now it's not as simple as just having a network of retail locations across the country.
Right.
Now you have to figure out how to get into the AI overview, how to get into organic, how to get into all the different things, which, I went to a presentation today where it talked about marketing, and I'm like, that is so much work for a small company. And we do that all day long because we have a team of people that does it. And, there's value in that, I think.
Yeah. So one of the questions that often comes up as it relates to what you provide is if you get a lead, right, you acquire the lead through your, do you deliver it to one partner, or do you deliver it to multiple partners?
Right.
How do you work with that? Because that's often been the thing that people are concerned about at lead gen companies is like, are you sharing this with multiple
Absolutely.
people? So how do you deal with that?
So we follow the customer.
Yeah.
So a customer, like I talked about, a small customer who wants the job done in a specific time, we match that to one partner.
Okay.
And that's 35% of what comes in gets matched from our phone team by phone call to a single partner.
Got it. Okay.
Because that's what the customer wants. A customer who has a large job, 200 boxes, 300 boxes, wants to know whether they're in the ballpark of what it costs, because it's a big job.
Yeah.
And so we sell that to 2-3 partners at
Depending
a time.
on who's in that
depending
market
on the
as a
market.
partner.
And
Okay.
the maximum we do is you and 3 others. But what we've heard loud and clear from this conference is that the market is too competitive. And so we're going to change our metric and work on reducing competition to drive more value to our partners. And I've heard it from every single person we've talked to that says, we love your service, but it's too competitive. Can you work with us and change the model? And so we're going to be working on that as our objective for this year.
Yeah, well, you have been changing the model because a number of years ago it was very much that was but the connectedness has grown more, right? So we're much more able to delineate what you're doing, because you, more than probably anybody, other than maybe some of the national players, like the big nationals, like maybe Shredded or those, you're seeing the pure volume of it. So you actually know the nuance of what's happening in the marketplace.
We do, and I did a thing that looked from 2018 to 2025. Took every lead, put what vertical they're in, and watched the decline of paper. So we went from an average of 47 boxes in 2018 for a business client and 14 boxes to a residential client in 2018. And this year it went down to 33 boxes for a business client and 10 boxes for a residential client. So you can see the decline in the industry by different types of industry, and we'd be happy to talk about that more if you want sometime. But it's really interesting to see where the paper is and where it isn't, but it's all declining. But what isn't declining is the value of destroying to the companies that are destroying it.
Right.
And so we've been chasing boxes, and our whole system is married on boxes because that mirrors the industry. But what you lose is the value of the service to the specific industry, because that doctor's office still cares about shredding its confidential data.
Yeah.
Whether it's 8 boxes or 28 boxes, it's still the same value to that office, and that's what gets lost right now. And so we're working on changing our value proposition to people.
That's so cool. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because you, to me, more than your organization, to me more than anybody else, other than is seeing such unique nuance to the marketplace. And because of the kind of research you're doing, I'm intrigued deeply by what you just said there, the decline of how much people are requesting over time. So from that perspective, where do you see, if you had a little bit of a crystal ball, what are you seeing as the trend pattern of, and this comes back to not just the industry, but how much paper's there. And I completely agree with your premise that doctors' offices still want shredding and they still want it done right. But there's definitely a trend pattern too.
100%.
So what are you seeing in the industry? And then related, because of the work you do, what are you seeing with the advent of like the AI algorithms now affecting, right? You're getting that AI response in the top of the Google searches and frankly, I haven't done a Google search in a while. I'm searching with Perplexity now. I do. I mean, things are changing, and you're in a unique place to see this. So what are you seeing? What are some of the patterns and trends that are worth us knowing about?
Well, like I said, volume is smaller.
Yeah.
But if you don't service the small volume referral, you are missing out on an entree into big organizations.
Right.
And if you don't charge on the value of your service, you're diminishing what we do as an industry. And we have to be a strong industry in order for all these companies to survive. I mean, it's imperative.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to talk about is price preservation. And it's really important. So we're going to work on, a shredding company in Chicago. How do we get you to take the full line of service suites? What competition? Because competition is real. We can't have no competition. That's not it exists. But what kind of competition are you comfortable with? And and it's only competing against AAA and A certified companies and things like that. We don't know what the answers are, but learning more about each of our partners, what they want, and then trying to do a better job of delivering services to them. And then if it would marry what Google is trying to do with AI, which is, you're searching and you want a very specific answer to a question, and it gives you in the AR overview what it thinks is the right answer to the question.
Right.
And so I think what we're doing is kind of mirroring what AI wants. And now that we understand, we are importing a list of the top 5,000 companies in the country. And now when a lead comes up that's one of those top 5,000 companies, we mark it and let it go not just to you, the salesperson, but to the company owner, so that you can know that you are in front of Mercedes-Benz. Because if it gets reduced to an 8 to 10 box lead, you may not ever know that, Mr. Company Owner, but if we flag it, we can say, this is Mercedes-Benz corporate office, 8 to 10 boxes, and it's part of a larger collection. And so we're trying to do what Google is, like give you, the trading company, you, the record company, better information.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the things that we're doing.
Well, that's the to me that's the interesting thing about data and having good data.
Yeah.
Is you can flag really interesting things that wouldn't ever cross an owner's mind.
Right.
And an inbound person who gets the lead would go, oh, this is just 8.
Yes, 8 to 10 boxes.
Where if somebody knows, hey, that's a really important lead.
Right.
Right. So now you're actually ranking leads in a really cool way.
That's the idea. Because we just hired a guy, Kumar, who comes from like this customer success mindset, and he said, do you know who your customers are? And I'm like, sure, I know who my customers are, people who want to shred records, anything like that. And he goes, no, do you really know? And when you look at 78,000 customers and individually say, okay, this is a hospital, this is a doctor, this is a transportation company, and then compare it year over year to the 78,000 before then, you can see the trends. And so where the paper is in the automotive industry. It's incredible how much the automotive industry has in paper, or like the airline industry and things like that. And so you can see where the boxes are strong and where the boxes are declining the most. And it's interesting, but you lose the value of it if you just reduce it to number of boxes.
Right.
I mean, you really do. And so we got to, as you as an industry leader, me as a lead generator, we got to promote price preservation, because the value of what we do is just as important, whether it's 8 boxes or 28 boxes.
100%. I agree. Did you hear the speaker this morning?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I thought he had a really interesting premise, which is price to value.
Yes.
Right? And price to premium value.
Right.
And so often I think what happens is we ignore those small boxes because they're a pain in the ass.
Right.
Instead of they're an incredibly cool opportunity.
Well, and even on the people moving, they are desperate. You can talk to them all day long to do their job on Friday, September 24th at 4 p.m.
Right.
And if you can be that precise and say at 4 p.m. I'll be there, don't worry about your boxes, you can charge a premium for that.
Yeah.
Where, if you just say it's, 10 boxes at a house, I'm going to give you $79, you're missing the value of your service.
Right. And that's what I thought was so cool about his obnoxious offer concept, and about that sort of premium price, but a guaranteed value proposition to support it.
And so we gotta get everybody talking like this.
Yeah,
and,
that's really
and
good.
Everybody,
really good.
And then what we're gonna do is go, with our partners on a market by market basis and say, what do you need from us to help you grow better? Because we understand that we've had rocky relationship with people over time, and we want to do better. And part of hiring Kumar, I don't know if you've met Alex. Alex is such a good person. Kelly. And we've been doing this a long time, and we care. Yeah. And it's a lot different than like Google. If you pay Google, they don't care about you. No. We care.
Good.
So is
that
helpful?
I am just so grateful, because I think every time I talk with you, I feel like I learned something new. So
thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to do it again.
Really. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And continued success. I think. Thank you. I love what you're doing, and I love the fact that you had this really rich history in this industry, which I think adds to it.
When you grow up in it, you start to care differently. So
I've said that to many people, which is this industry is a weird way of getting inside you, and then I do a lot of work outside this industry, but I can't leave it. Like, this industry is in my blood now.
Well, you're a leader in it, and we're grateful to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.